Let's face it, you're all here because the Nintendo Switch 2 was just announced. And if you're anything like us, you just want to revel in it. So that's what we do at the top of the show before we dive into what we've been playing. And finally, we head over to some more traditional Shack News coverage in the form of previews, reviews, and news. But I'm going to keep it short in this intro. Let's dive right in so we can get to the goods today. Thanks for being here. Here we go.
I don't know. Have you guys seen this Red Note app? Are you guys on there?
I downloaded it.
You did? You sheep.
I haven't booted it up, but I did download it yet.
I heard about it, man. Are you an actual lemming?
It's the same. It's the same. Is this? Are we recording?
Yeah.
I mean, it's silly. It's all these platforms. They're all taking your data and privacy. I sound like such an old man. So yes, it's a Chinese company. Like we don't fuck with Chinese companies.
Silly. It's just so silly. Why? There's perfectly good vertical video platforms out there right now, like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube.
Instagram, I can't do Insta.
I can't do Instagram.
Just from a moral, I can't do it. And it's funny, it's pretty screwed up. Your company's got to be pretty damn screwed up. But I'm cool with TikTok, and I'm not cool with Instagram.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, what are we even talking about here?
I get it. It's the good place. It's this horseshit of the good place. We forget that there is no ethical consumption anywhere. Anywhere.
Past
so like what so download Red Note. What's the difference?
Because it's hilarious.
What's the difference?
Because the funniest thing is happening on Red Note right now. You have Chinese people interacting with American people on a social platform, which TikTok really didn't do because they banned. TikTok was American and Westerners, and they had Douyin for China, right? This is a Chinese app in Red Note that it was so small that it wasn't even on Nancy Pelosi or Biden's radar or Trump's radar, right? So it's like everyone running over to Red Note is hilarious to me because this is backfiring. The government, this decision to ban TikTok is backfiring hilariously because all these Westerners are going over to this Chinese-dominated platform, right? It's not, and they're looking at the content and they're like, dude, China's kind of awesome. Like, there's this one video, this person's breaking down grocery prices in China. There's another one where they're breaking down like how much it costs to go to the emergency room, how much it costs to have an ambulance pick you up. And in America, that's like that's 5 figures, right? They're talking like a couple $100 for these services. So people what I think's really funny is that the U.S. government's like, TikTok bad, brainwashing Americans. And this shutdown is just pushing everyone further towards communism. And it's like, I have nothing bad to say about I have nothing bad to say about the Chinese people because they're just people. And that interaction though is so funny, man. You saw Chinese students asking Americans to help them with their English homework on Red Note. And then you have Americans that are like, look how awesome China is.
Yeah.
The second they realize that all these websites are banned and they can't say things and they can't do things, they're going to get really upset and see, that's why no one likes it. Okay, I see.
I don't.
However, the problem is you're seeing that on X, an American platform.
Yeah,
where you're not allowed to say certain things. Right? It is this oligarchy thing that is really interesting. So it's all really bad.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of knew this. We all saw this. Red Note versus, is that what it's called? Red Note?
Yeah.
Whatever. It's all the same BS.
It's just
I'm just
silly,
happy
though.
There's a new Nintendo coming out. So
I just think it's such a silly thing, though. It's such a silly thing. It's like, you're banning a Chinese app, so we're going to go to another Chinese app. It's like, well...
Do we think it's going to be banned, by the way? Do we actually think this is... Because I don't see it happening. This doesn't... I would be surprised, actually.
If Red Note gets banned... Well, I will say this, John. The government of China has warned Red Note that they need to prevent Chinese citizens from seeing Western posts. So this little happy honeymoon period that we're seeing right now, it's not going to last for long, man. They're going to segregate Americans away from the Chinese people. So they don't want our brain worms to infect their citizens.
Funny.
I think that's it. So the Chinese government, and everyone's like, before we move on, like, did you see Mr. Beast post that America deserves TikTok? No, the fuck we don't. We don't deserve anything. And he's like, I've gathered a bunch of billionaires here and we're going to make a pitch to buy. You're dealing with a communist nation. They have no profit motive. They do not care. TikTok worked. It did everything they intended it to do. And they're done. Like, you could offer them $100 billion for TikTok and they would say no. Because they don't want to give up that pool of data that they have.
Sure.
They already got it. It was the second largest or third largest social platform on Earth for like multiple years. They have all the data. Mission accomplished. And then they made money during it. They actually got paid to take all of our data, which all these other companies are doing too, John, to your point. But like, what a fail. All I'm saying is just what a failure.
Oh yeah, huge failure,
the part of the U.S. government. Just another L for Joe Biden to take as he walks out the door. But like, wow. I'm not like, oh my God, how dare they go to another China? Who gives a fuck? I just think it's funny how badly this has backfired. Because, yeah, you're hurting a lot of creators, us included. Like, we've had a lot of success on TikTok. We haven't been there forever, but like, we have 2.2 million views on a video over there. So it's like, it sucks, but I never took the platform seriously because I knew this could happen. That's why once a week, I've been posting a Xur video from Destiny 2 to the tune of some DMX song. So tomorrow might be the last Xur video on TikTok, but we're gonna post to YouTube still because Shorts platform exists. Facebook has Reels, Instagram has Reels. The X platform supports vertical video. So yeah, there's gonna be places to post videos. It's just, I find it funny to see a bunch of TikTokers run to another Chinese app because I'm like, that's gonna happen again. Like everything, it's such a silly way of civil disobedience, I guess, at this point. And now Red Note's gonna be in the crosshairs of somebody, Yeah, just way to go, Biden admin. Just really, really killing it in your last week here.
No, I'm sure people are trying to be like, wow, America's awesome. You can say whatever you want. You can go to all the websites and nobody arrests you for making fun of the president. This is amazing. Perspective is everything.
Yeah. I don't know, man. If I didn't have to deal with blue check marks on Twitter and my healthcare cost, 90% less, I wouldn't tweet about Joe Biden if I could have affordable healthcare.
It's hard to argue with that. No,
hard to argue with that.
I tend to agree.
Give it 6 weeks, fellas.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah,
give it 6 weeks. We're all this Biden talk. I'm not a Biden guy, but I did vote for the guy. And,
sure.
Just wait. Wait. We all see it. I know y'all know.
Trust me, dude. Trust me.
We're talking about Red Note.
I think Asif is saying he also wouldn't tweet about Trump. I think that was the sentiment.
Yeah. If I could have affordable healthcare, I won't tweet about Trump either.
Yeah, I ain't tweeting about nothing.
Because your healthcare deductible resets on the 1st, right? So I'm on this medicine that costs like $6,500 a dose, and like, because my deductible hasn't been hit yet, I had to fucking out of pocket pay for that. And in other countries, it's less than $500 in other countries. So like, as long as that shit exists, I don't care who the president is. They all suck. But like, it's really funny to see the same people who were voting for Trump now talking about how great communism looks. That's funny.
True. Yeah.
That's just funny. That's ironic and funny, and that's a cold open for you, Joe. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's Shack Together in America on the internet. If this is your first time joining us, Shack Together is a Shack News video game podcast featuring myself, your host, Asif Khan. Co-host John Benjamin is here.
Hello. Hi.
Our producer, Joe Stasio, is here.
Hi.
And head of video, Greg Burke, is here.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Hey, howdy, hey. So yeah, we normally talk about what we've been playing lately. Nope, we got breaking news. Nintendo Switch 2 exists, and it's exactly like every single leak we've seen for the last 2 months.
Yep.
except for one thing. The C button does not have a letter on it in the video that they showed today.
What the heck?
Did you guys notice that?
I did not notice that. No,
I noticed that. I've watched this. Wow. I watched this reveal trailer probably 20 times today, just to try to see if I'm missing anything. That was a weird. I don't know. What do you guys think? I thought the reveal trailer was quite weird.
Very Apple.
Yeah,
it was very Apple. Yeah.
Yes,
it felt like the Apple
thing. It felt like those interstitials that they do, where like Tim's like, "I want to show you our next product," and then there's a video that rolls, and then he talks about the specs afterwards, right? Except all we got was that hype video. Like we didn't get anything. Oh, like the things that we know are obviously we already knew them if you believe the leaks, but like what they just confirmed today, it's larger. It's a larger screen. The Joy-Cons are larger. The buttons are larger. The analog joysticks appear to be redesigned. It's using a magnet to connect to the Joy-Cons to the Switch. And,
they really hammered that point too. I felt like they were like really hammering the connection type.
Well, because I always felt that the Joy-Con were kind of wobbly
me too.
Like when you were holding the handheld.
Yes.
So maybe that was what they were trying to do, is make it feel like, because Steam Deck feels good in your hands because it's not wobbly, right? So I think that's
your tank though.
I know I'm not talking about the weight of it, Greg. I just mean it sits in the hands well, and I think that with the larger Switch, that's a good thing for people with larger hands. And I hope that there's more there. The Joy-Cons definitely have that. The part that connects to the Switch, that's been redesigned. So there's magnets in there. There's something that people are claiming is like an optical I/O device based thing that's going to basically like how your Bluetooth mouse works. There's a lot of people suggesting that the Switch 2 Joy-Con will have like a mouse cursor functionality. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
We did see a game. We saw one game. It's a Mario Kart game. So congratulations, everybody. You're getting a new Mario Kart game.
Mario Kart 9.
I don't think so.
Oh, God. You think it's going to be like some weird offshoot thing?
I think it's Mario Kart Wonder.
Okay.
There is a Wonder Seed in the trailer, guys. Like I said, I've been watching this like all day. Did you see Yoshi's Diner?
I did.
In the parking lot of Yoshi's Diner is a Wonder Seed. Like kind of like where you would be able to like drive and pick it up.
The design isn't Wonder, and I think Wonder had a very particular design. Now I'm going back to the trailer because I'm curious to see what you saw.
Also, just
that's the only thing. The art design is like pretty different.
Yeah, Mario's different. He's chubbier. He's that less sleek Mario. He's that shorter, chubbier Mario.
But he's not like a Wonder Mario, is all I'm saying. But
no,
you think they'll go with that nomenklature? I think it's Mario Kart 9, man.
Maybe
or
it's
Mario
9.
Kart XL or something.
Maybe
silly.
It's 9, but like I see a Wonder Seed. So
that's interesting. No, that's cool. That's like a very almost like a Smash Brothers. Oh, I see it there. Yeah, that's
you see it in the parking lot, right?
It's really neat.
Yeah. So like, there's something about that, man. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's not Mario Kart Wonder, but maybe there's a Wonder level, or like at least they're acknowledging Wonder as part of this universe now.
Or remember, it's like maybe it's a Smash Brothers type like homage to when. Remember, like the step ups from Smash, 64 to this and that. Like it always the trophies, and then the Smash Ball and the whatever.
Does this mean that I'm going to be able to drive as Elephant Mario, John? That's all I care about. Can I drive as Elephant Mario?
I would think so.
Yeah. We didn't see him in the trailer, but what we did see was a redesigned Donkey Kong. Did you see Donkey Kong?
I did.
That's he looks more like the movie Donkey Kong than he does that DK64 era or even the DKC era Donkey Kong.
Sure. He looks like old school arcade Donkey Kong.
Yeah, he looks like the guy who was throwing barrels over his head at Mario. Yeah. It feels like, I know I said it last year, but like Donkey Kong's a really important IP for this company, and like what just released yesterday, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD.
Returns.
Yeah, he returned for the third time. But I feel like they're trying to get us like, hey, remember Donkey Kong? Because there might be some sort of first-party Donkey Kong game coming soon. But yeah, I did notice that. The Mario, not just the characters, John, but the actual carts look different.
Mm-hmm.
I saw tank treads on one of them. They had tank treads on Rosalina's cart.
Oh yeah, that's right, Rosalina. But yeah, we didn't see anything like crazy. We didn't see Pikachu in Mario Kart yet or anything, or Kirby or something. We did see the starting line had spots for 24 vehicles. So that would be...
You really watched this thing.
Dude, you don't understand. Like, I have 90% of my wealth tied up in one company. And it's not Shack News, it's Nintendo. So
it's not Shack.
It isn't. I'm just saying, like, I have a vested interest in the company right now. I'm very transparent about that. By the way, I got it right. Nintendo Switch sold very well. And you made a ton of money if you bought Nintendo in 2017 or 16 or 14, fucking 13 or 12, which I did. But yeah, like, at this point, I am playing the devil's advocate a lot of the time. I'm opposition researching this Nintendo Switch too, because I think there's a lot of headwinds here, and I don't think they really addressed any of them in this video.
They did it on purpose, because now you're going to have 3 months of speculation of the specs, the price, what games are coming out. It was a marketing tactic, and they know it. They know it.
I think they were pushed. I think that the problem is they were pushed.
Yeah.
And I think this is like I don't want to say it's a cheap looking trailer or whatever. Like, it's a very nice trailer. This is not what they wanted to show. I think the leaks kind of pushed this kind of...
I think what this is, John, though, it's like, it's them taking back the narrative. It's like, fine. Yeah, it's like, fine, you guys have leaked everything. Here's everything you've leaked. Now we're going to, like, if it's possible to be even more locked down at Nintendo, I imagine right now, not many people know about the software lineup. Like, I bet there's like 4 people at Nintendo of America who even know what's coming out in this thing. But, because they have to be locking shit down. Because the software has not leaked. The only thing we've seen leaked is largely due to schematics out of China, right? So it's being mass produced in China right now. We know that. So these companies are leaking out, here's what the dimensions are, here's the dimensions, here's the buttons, here's where the vents are and stuff. Because it's all like accessory companies have been leaking it more than anyone, right? Which brings me back to that point you made earlier, Joe. That video felt like an Apple video. I think Nintendo is entering its Apple era. I think Krista over there in the Kit and Krista podcast mentioned that a few weeks ago on their show. That, like, this is not the Nintendo that takes crazy risks and makes a Wii U. This is the Nintendo that's like, we make Switches now. And
are we going to get that voiceover that says it's the thinnest, most powerful Nintendo Switch ever created every year?
It's not the thinnest, but and I don't think that we're going into a cadence where every year they're making a Switch. I don't think that's the case. I just think it's like Sony makes PlayStation, right? Like, Sony makes PlayStation. Nintendo now makes Switch. You know what I mean? Like, you don't go back from this convergence device, right? Because they merged their handheld and their console dev teams into one. Like, that's here to stay. Like, I don't foresee Nintendo ever breaking away from this model now.
You don't think they'll make like a console like that works with the Nintendo Switch 3 or whatever, like eventually like a little console box you can have by yourself, but if you have the Switch, it connects to it, does weird stuff. You don't think they'll go that route?
No.
Okay.
I think they're more likely to make a handheld Switch that does not dock, like they did with the Lite. They could do a Switch. Yeah. They could do a Switch 2 Lite. And honestly, just from like my perspective, what I think they missed with the Switch 2 was the Switch 1, even the Lite did not fit in most people's pocket. That's where the Game Boy Advance SP and the DS really shined.
Those were fun.
And like, I could see...
let me ask you, does this seem less fun to anybody else? I mean, probably not. I guess the software... You know what? When you don't have software of note, except Part 9 or whatever they call it, I think it's going to just feel like a little staid. It feels a little like, oh, cool. It's a slightly bigger Switch. Very nice. But like, it doesn't feel fun. Even if they called it Super Nintendo Switch, like, so even if it's just a little bit of a hint towards that fun.
Yeah.
Do you really want Nintendo to be Apple in 2025 when Apple started being Apple back in 2005?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Really 08. was when I consider like
but I mean,
Apple.
I'm rounding, right?
Yeah, sure.
20 years ago.
You're
18 years
talking
ago.
post iPod. I'm talking like the year after iPhone launched. They're like, we're an iPhone company now, right? And
Yeah,
it's like,
it's not that they didn't try to like do other stuff and iPad and this and that.
I mean, like,
They
I'll
obviously
talk
tried,
about it
but
later, but I fucking love my MacBook that I just got. It's outstanding. So like, Apple still
what did
makes.
you get? Like an M4 or something?
Yeah, I got the maxed out MacBook Pro 16-inch model, John. So it's like
Nice.
8 terabytes of storage. I think I have 64 gigs of RAM.
What the heck, man? That's crazy. It's all the video stuff, huh?
Yeah, dude. I know it's a non sequitur, but just real quick, like Bill and I did this Civ 7 video. It was in 1440p. It was an hour long. This Mac exported it in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I fucking love this computer.
That's crazy.
So it's like I've been off of the Mac for like 10 years, really, because I did not like the 2015 Mac. And I slowly moved away from it. Greg, you remember how slow that shit was?
Oh, yeah, it's awful.
We used to use it to edit videos on the road. I can do that on this thing, and it would actually be great. So yeah, like I agree that like Apple still is trying, Apple Watch, all these things, but like they're an iPhone company. That's where most of their revenue comes from. And Nintendo's like, we're a Switch company. So on one hand, it's good, but like the question, I was talking to David about this earlier, and I really think this is the question I have. I know, John, you've been a part, or you've watched and been in games media for like 5
Forever.
of these console releases from Nintendo.
Sure.
You were here, you were there for the Switch, you were obviously there for the Wii U, the Wii, the GameCube, the 64. You were kind of starting your career when the 64
I started with
came
the
out.
64, yeah.
Yeah. So like you've seen these, and you're going to know what I'm about to ask you. Here's my question for everyone here. And I asked this question as a fan of the company, a fan of their hardware, and a shareholder. What Nintendo are we dealing with here? Is this arrogant Nintendo? Is this insecure Nintendo? Is this vengeful Nintendo? One thing we know for sure, this is not scrappy, back up against the wall Nintendo.
This is very safe Nintendo, which is that's the weird part.
Yeah,
right. Like, because Nintendo's not necessarily safe, and if you remember N64, that controller looked like it was a UFO.
Yeah,
and then because you went from NES to SNES, it's always the controller. That is what's a little unsettling, and it's not bad, it's not good. It's just unsettling. And when as a fan of the company, where you go from NES to Super Nintendo, that was a clear technological advancement.
Huge.
From SNES to N64, you had the analog. We all know the steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here, it feels like you're going from Switch to Switch. Yeah, Switch 2. And I'm surprised at how safe this is, which makes me think if they are going an Apple route, it is we're going to see an update in a couple years. We're going to see. I really think that now you're going to go Nintendo Switch 3 and this and they're saving Super Nintendo Switch for some advancement that I don't think is ever really going to come. I
don't think we're getting
like gray and purple Switch and call it that, right?
No,
maybe.
This was the moment to have Super Nintendo Switch. They didn't do it. We're not getting it. Because
that's what I mean. They're saving it for something that just won't come, and that feels like it feels like more short-sighted than I ever saw Nintendo. Like Nintendo's
weird.
Not a safe company. It's weird.
It's weird. It's weird because I think what's going on here, John, whoever's left at Nintendo from the Wii U era, they have vicious PTSD. And they're like, no,
I know.
We will not. We will not suffer another Wii U. We will not. Right.
And we've seen Nintendo do that. Like, you're right, with Wii U, and that led to like this gigantic platform Switch.
But like it led to 3 years of consecutive losses at the company, and like their worst financial performance in 30 years.
Deserved. I mean, it's deserved. The pivot is deserved. It is. It's.
So I think it's some of that.
This conservatism is also like hearing everything we're all saying, and I agree it's unsettling and it's definitely conservative. And I also would say it's less fun, and my excitement level is muted. All that aside, this was without a doubt the right move. Like they did it right.
It's the right move, especially economically, how Japan is and this and that. You're saying from a company perspective, Joe.
I'm saying this product. This product was conceived correctly. I think that's an opinion, but that's how I
think the most important thing, and when I talk to people who aren't in the games media, who are just casual fans of video games, the number one thing that everyone has mentioned to me that is informing their purchase decision for Switch 2 is that your purchases transfer over. For the first time ever, Nintendo is letting your purchases come along with you to the next generation.
Yeah.
Like, that's instant value add for me. And then
what's the
if it's like, hey, you can finally play Breath of the Wild in 4K, John, or like, like if
I
those
know.
If those are the things that we get here in the next few months, like those are the tidbits of news, I think it is going to be okay. I don't think it's a Wii U. It might be a 3DS.
Yeah.
Because you look at DS, which is the king still, 154 million units. That's the most successful Nintendo product. At some point in the near future, Switch may surpass it. But for now, let's just use this DS argument. That sold 154 million units. 3DS sold about 70 million units. That's not a failure, but it's like half as much as its predecessor, right? I think we may be about to witness something similar.
Right.
And that's not bad for gamers necessarily. But maybe they're also looking back at 3DS launch. And, it's important to note that the 3DS launched, what was it like? It was either a week before or a week after the Fukushima nuclear disaster. So there's just horrible luck around that launch that I think affected things like software availability. But yeah, I think we're more entering a 3DS kind of era than we are a Wii U era. And obviously those two things held hands for about 3 years. But back to that point though, John, seeing them be this cautious is strange. It is because like normally we've seen Nintendo get high on their own supply and then they go a bridge too far. They do something where you're like, that's greedy or that's stupid. So far we haven't seen that. I want to go back to the video though. They really focused on the 2 USB-C ports. Did you guys notice that? Like
Yeah.
They did.
They're like multiple shots, Greg, where they showed off, hey, we have 2 USB-C ports.
But see, the thing is, I want to know is what did you expect? Because like you're saying that like they're playing it safe, and to me, it's just like they improved the Joy-Cons to me are too small, right? And they made them larger, which is good for me. They made the screen larger. They got rid of the border. Like they improved it. Like it's definitely an improvement, and like a
But it's not an
substantial
OLED screen. It's an LCD screen. So that's a step back.
Did they say it was LCD?
We think anyway. Right?
So far these leakers are like 100%. So I'm gonna assume, based on all the leaks and the supply chain leaks, that it is a LCD screen.
Okay.
But we don't know. That's why I didn't make any decision on the stock today because I feel like I haven't been given enough information to determine what I think is going to happen here. All we can do is look at the information we were given and react to it. So obviously this is more, we're all going to be looking at the industrial design of this thing, and it's just not that different. To John's point, like it doesn't look new.
There's another angle here, and we see a little bit of this happening with, I don't know how much y'all are paying attention to this. I just catch glimpses when I browse like the Xbox store, listening to podcasts and whatever, but like there's still games coming out for Xbox One. And as time goes on, it's pretty obvious an observation to say, like, as time goes on, the line between generations of hardware is really blurred.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be the kind of thing where Nintendo might not need 150 million Switch 2s sold anymore, because for all we know, games are going to come out in 5 years that support both consoles. And, Nintendo might still produce original Switches, manufacture original Switches and put them on shelves for all we know. And you could consider this the Pro model, even though it's not in name a Pro model. Like, I don't know if we can look at this like it's PS5 and you don't buy a PS4 anymore. It might be a different, retail approach.
So it's an Xbox Series X.
But it's also the DS and 3DS, because the DS...
and I mean, the S being the current Switch and X being this one.
But like the DS...
How's that working out?
But yeah, it's horrible. You heard Black Myth Wukong say, we're not going to even port to Xbox because that Series S sucks, is basically what the devs
they're
said.
just, maybe this is Nintendo in their IP era. And they see that they made $1 billion in the movie. It's what I was saying 10 years ago, right? Like this is, and we talked about this for a while. It's like the value of their IP. It's not their hardware and software. Yes, fine, hardware, software, all that. But it's Mario. And it took them 20 years to get the second movie out the door and make $1 billion. Hopefully there's that bigger,
I think
effort
the cadence, the problem is, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, John, cautious Nintendo takes too fucking long. It's like, thank you for Nintendo Music. That app rules. Why wasn't that out 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Like, what happened inside Nintendo? Iwata died, right? So it's like, I think some of the religion that they had about their IP is gone. And they are now like, let's make money. Let's license our stuff out to toy companies. Let's work with Lego, right? Let's let developers make games. We got the Mario and Rabbids game, right? Or the Sonic and Mario at the Olympics games. Like they've started that on the software side. Just from the results standpoint though, John, and like $1 billion is a lot of money. Even the year where the Mario movie came out, you're talking about 8% of their revenue came from IP ventures like mobile apps.
Yes,
so it's like that transition to an IP company from a video game hardware company, it's going to take, based on Nintendo's current progression, it's going to take like 10 years from now.
Sorry. So hold on. So maybe it's not that. Maybe I misspoke in terms of IP company. This is them doubling down on being a toy company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and
this
is
is
just
like,
them
let's
saying
sell
like,
a lot more. Let's sell a lot more plastic stuff.
Yeah.
At a triple the margin of anybody else. We're going to make money on every piece of hardware like they've always done. We're just going to do that at a magnitude and that's where an LED.
That's why they cut
screen.
that.
Yeah, that's why it's not OLED, right?
Yeah,
and that's why it's like these little incremental things.
Yeah, they're like I think
so they're a toy company.
Several analysts point out that the supply chain for Switch 2, it indicates that they're going to have 20 million units available in their first fiscal year. So, like, you're right. They made hardware choices to guarantee that they can mass produce this thing. My concern, based on the leaks, we don't know yet, is that this custom chip that they're using is an 8 nanometer process, which is like from 2018. That's not exciting, if that's true. Now, I hope there's something else going on in the dock itself that will improve docked performance. And I don't think handheld performance is going to be terrible, but I'm just like, I want this to feel next generation. And so far, I'm not sure. But like,
define next gen. You want 60 frames at 4K?
I want at least 60 frames per second in handheld. If it's 720p or 800p, so be it. But I want 60 frames per second video games.
See, Nintendo's never, I mean, I'm not saying they never care about that. It was really low on their totem pole because they made the most powerful console on the market and it didn't really move the needle for them. So they're more focused about their game.
I know.
Right.
But like, it's the one, like, you look at the last year, look at Echoes of Wisdom. That game would have been bigger if it was on the Switch 2 and did not have performance issues that people were like, I can't play this game because it dips below 30 FPS. Like, there's people out there who are FPS snobs now, and it's going to inform their purchasing decisions. So I think that's one of them, Greg. 1080p, 60 FPS. The other one is, it's about damn time that we got 4K video games from Nintendo. Like, that has to be part of it. Like, that's part of it. Everyone has a 4K TV now. It costs like $300 at Meijer to get a 4K TV, right? So it's like, everyone has those now. It's time, Nintendo. And I don't want a half-assed version of that. So like, that's where I'm concerned still, is like, it's really hard to show graphics in a trailer like this, right? Because it's going to be on social, it's going to get compressed to all shit, and it's going to be on YouTube. So like, we don't know. We don't know if what we just saw was 4K or not.
I don't even think the trailer upgrade is 4K. It's 1080. They didn't even do a 4K trailer.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, it's 1080 on YouTube anyway. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's my concern.
I think, that is a concern. I think it's going with the flow. Where if they're a toy company, 1080 is good enough. 4K it'll likely be 4K just because the hardware will be capable of that. I think. Look, I know we're more traditional gaming and all that. Roblox doesn't play on Nintendo Switch. It's 70 million active users per daily, right? This is a Roblox machine. This is a Fortnite machine, like it or not, right? This is also a Nintendo games machine. I was saying that back in GameCube times, right? Asif, like, I'd be like, charge $100 a game.
Yeah,
Nintendo would pay for it. It's well worth it. Wonder, whatever, Zelda, all that stuff. Let it be a premium machine. It's premium software. And then just make sure your hardware is powerful enough to play these games that are doing bonkers usage in terms of gaming writ large.
Mm-hmm.
So it's back to being just it's got to look. Nintendo Switch itself, we love it. It chugs. We all know that for years it's been chugging since Breath of the Wild. It was chugging from day one.
They patched
I think
most
this is
of it,
just
but yeah.
the natural evolution. I just wish. Remember when it was called Nintendo Revolution? One of the project names. There's no revolution here.
We didn't even get a project name for this.
There's no revolution because maybe to Joe, your point, there's no revolution needed. They kind of hit it.
But also, like, the revolutionaries at the company are kind of gone.
Yeah.
There's still Miyamoto there.
You would still,
yeah. But he's kind of like a grandpa. He's like not really.
He's a figurehead.
Yeah, he's the guy who's going to show you Donkey Kong Country, at Super Nintendo World, or he's the guy who's going to talk to you about the Mario movie or the Zelda movie. Like, he's a figurehead now. But like when he was working on the industrial design of the controllers, we got some revolutionary stuff. We got the Wiimote, we got the GameCube controller, which people still play on. And we got the N64 controller, which was neat in its own way.
Very controversial among staff. We found this out.
Though.
It was.
Oh, why?
It had to be their moment, man, because it was like analog gaming.
That's exactly it.
It was analog gaming for the first time. And yes, the C button sucked. They didn't know what to do with the C stick yet. They figured it out eventually.
They did.
But like it's so easy to look back at things and be like, meh. But like, yeah, when we were there, N64 was revolutionary. It was Project Reality, right? That was Project Reality. Because that was a huge moment. You went from 2D to 3D.
Was that Project Reality or Dolphin?
Dolphin was GameCube.
Dolphin was GameCube.
Project Reality was N64.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Here's the thing though. Also, it's like Nintendo. They've always led the way in design, whether it's game design or visual design. I don't think fidelity is on. I mean, I don't think fidelity is that high priority. Like, it's playing 4K on a screen that's 9 inches long. Is that really going to make or break it for people? Like, I just don't feel like that's important, honestly.
It's never been for them, which much to our chagrin,
I don't know, man. Like, I think at one point,
I think they're going to be pushed.
At one point, they tried with GameCube and they failed, and they were like, never again. That was the lesson for GameCube.
Such a pretty system.
Yeah, that system was outstanding.
Resident Evil 4 on that system looked amazing if you compared it to the other consoles.
Outstanding. Yeah. Best RE4. Monkey Ball ran amazing on it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, I think it was the best experience on GameCube. Melee, right? GameCube, in retrospect, was not a failure. The failure was Wii U. The failure was Virtual Boy. Those are failures. GameCube was like right on the edge of being a disaster, but it wasn't. It sold over 20 million units. Like, I think the funny part is Microsoft would be doing backflips to sell 20 million units of any of their hardware. So like that we're talking about like Nintendo failures as 20 million units in a lifetime, and people are saying they're going to sell 20 million units of Switch 2 this year. Like even a meh year from them, or even like a less inspiring release from them, is still probably going to do better than their competitors. But like I heard a quote from Iwata that Krista mentioned on their podcast today. Iwata said, if you're in first place, don't stop running. And I'm worried that they're slowing down, that they're not running as fast as they were when the Switch 1 launched.
I mean, how does it have to be weird for them to be like innovative? I don't feel that has to be.
No, but it has to feel like Nintendo.
What's innovative here, though?
I think you want to hear what I think's about to happen? I think this is Dongle City. We are about to witness so many dongles.
Please God, no.
The first dongle is going to go in that top part, that top USB slot, and it's a camera. And I think they're going to do some weird AR stuff. Why not make your own Snapchat filter-styled selfie machine with Mario IP and Nintendo IP for your filters, right? Like, hey, this filter makes you look like you have a Mario hat on or a mustache, right? Like, I feel like there's a social component on the software side that can be unlocked with something as weird as an optional camera attachment.
You're throwing back to the Game Boy days, and they had the Game Boy camera and how weird that thing was.
Yes,
right.
Or the Game Boy printer.
Who's saying they're not going to do that? We've only got the console.
That's what I'm saying. Like, weird Nintendo might not be gone. We just got Alarmo last year. Like, they're still there. There's still some wacky people at Nintendo working on weird shit, right? So it's like, it's a question of what stuff from the R&D lab made it into this, I think is going to be the question. But like, for a first impression, this did not excite me. I'll be honest with you.
To go back to JB's point, excuse me, I can talk today. Is that like I like that they take their time with things. Like I like that because we got 3 Sonic movies in arguably 4 years. Like no,
And
it's 2025, it's 4 years. Like good God,
combined revenue.
Great.
Yeah, they did very well for themselves.
They did great, and also creatively, that's the things. There's a middle ground that I don't know why people are missing. Like, doesn't have to be quick and dirty, and like quick means bad, right? But it doesn't have to take forever.
Yeah,
and I think especially with society moving at a breakneck pace, I think the fact that look, if this was announced 20 years ago or 10 years ago, they would announce this trailer, and then that date would say 2026. Right, they would start that marketing beat 2 years in advance, and there would be a delay to 2027 next year. I think like things are moving very breakneck, where I think only a company like Nintendo could barely get away with it today, and maybe definitely a Rockstar Games can get away with it.
Rockstar had toast to Nintendo,
and
but those are like super exceptions to the rule.
Apple's getting away with doing the bare minimum on the iPhone these days.
I don't know if they're getting away with it where their global market share keeps going down because of the
No, but Chinese. I just mean like they're not. I think Apple's best days are behind them clearly, but I also don't think they're going to go away.
No, yeah, for sure.
I think they're set up for a lost decade at Apple, and I mean, I held Nintendo through a lost decade. I started buying it during the 3DS, and I held it through now. And as someone who's made a lot of money on this stock multiple times, I'm still considering selling it here because it's I need to know what the software lineup is, and I need to know more of what the hardware can do. Because I do think that there's still a chance that there's some really weird stuff that Nintendo has planned for this, and it's going to be exclusive to the Switch too.
And they just said this year. They didn't say like March or whatever. They just said or April. They just said this year. They said
based on the hands-on. Yeah, based on the hands-on stuff that I saw, Greg. Like these events that are happening where you can sign up for a lottery. There's one in New York, there's one in LA, there's one in Texas, I think.
Paris, London.
Yeah. I'm just talking about America.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like there's I'm sure there's going to be hands-on in Japan too. Based on that, Greg, those are going to be production models most likely. So I think May or June is when this thing's going to launch. Yeah. And I think they do that because they want to ramp production into the holiday so that they have enough supply for the holiday.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's just, I think, but when I saw that the Direct, they announced that Nintendo Direct for April, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, that means we're going to get one more quarter from Nintendo where they sandbag the fuck out of guidance because they haven't announced anything. The only software coming out this quarter is Donkey Kong, right? So it's like they have one last time where they're going to talk their stock down, probably in this next month, and then when they give their guidance in for the full year, usually in early May, they're going to have to include the Switch 2 in that guidance. But they're not gonna say how many units they expect to sell until they absolutely have to. The other thing I think's going on right now, they probably don't know the price of this thing yet. I don't think they know the price. And I think that's a function of not knowing what the tariff environment's going to look like in a week or two.
No, I'm sure that will affect it. I'm sure they have a price in mind, but
the other thing, this may sound boring or dumb, but it's important to note where the Japanese yen was in 2016 and 17 when they were building Switch versus where it is now. It was like 80 yen to the dollar, right? And now we're sitting at, I think it's like 150. 155 Japanese yen to $1. So their purchasing power for supply has dropped by 50% from the previous generation. So it's like they made, I think it was like $50 per Switch at launch. It was like it cost them $250 and they were selling it for $300. If their costs are about to go up, and they're really good at hedging things, and like I said, they also just bought like bottom of the barrel supply from Nvidia. So I'm really curious what their margins are going to be, not just on the hardware, but on the software going forward. Because if this is higher fidelity graphics, that's going to cost more to make. And Miyamoto said as much.
Go back to JB's point, like I don't think there's a gamer in the world who wouldn't pay $100 for a new Zelda game, or a new Mario game, or a new Donkey Kong game. Like I think they have that power with their software because they're one of the last first party consoles that you can't play their games anywhere else. Not on PC, nothing. Not legally anyway. But
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you can
Like,
illegally play their
Mario
shit.
games are on Switch, Zelda games are on Switch, Donkey Kong games are on Switch.
Mhm.
And I think that helps this whole system work. Even like and they might be counting on that. They may
Mhm.
even take a loss on it because they know they'll make it up in software
No.
sales.
No, they won't.
don't think
No,
so?
they won't. No.
They'll never take it.
I'm telling you, man, Wii U
They just
PTSD, the Wii U PTSD is real. They will
They did
not.
that at GameCube. I mean, they
Yeah.
didn't take any loss on anything.
No.
Not
They
GameCube.
I think
Not-
Wii U, they sold it break even at launch, John. It wasn't at a profit, but they never lose money on their hardware.
Okay,
They,
so the margins
do
will be
that.
paper thin, is what I should say then.
I don't know. I really don't know, man. Because
I think we're in a different world, man. I think they are looking to make as big a margin as possible. It wouldn't surprise me if this is like $400 or $500 or something.
I think it's 400. I think it's like $399. And then I think there's upsells. I think there's going to be like, if you buy the camera, it costs this much. If you buy this, you know, and like I kind of thought that the dock was going to be optional. So like there's going to be like a SKU without the dock and a SKU with the dock. That might not be the case. Because the Switch aspect is still important, I think. Is it really a Switch if you don't have a dock? Right? But yeah, like Joe, you have some questions here. Like, what do you guys think about launch timing? Like I threw mine out. I think it's June.
Yeah, I'd say June. That feels good.
It makes sense to me. Yeah, I mean, I thought a little later, just historically, but you guys make good points. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Greg?
Old Greg would think like holiday because that's how this shit used to work, but not anymore. So yeah, a couple months after they do the hands-on easily.
Because the thing about Nintendo early adopters, it doesn't matter. You could sell it tomorrow. We'll buy it, right? It's so they're going to get their sales, right? They're going to get their hardware sales in June, which is historically a very weak quarter for them. So it's like they kind of set themselves up to look really good this year, year over year, right? Because they just had the 8th year of the Nintendo Switch. So they're going to be going up. Like, I think the comparison this summer is going to be like selling against like Nintendo World Championships and like smaller games, MEO, right? So like they have a very easy comp, I think, set up for themselves. It's going to boil down to software for me. If the software lineup is impressive, I think it's good. I think their software specifically moves their hardware. And that's what they got completely right in 2017, right? You got Zelda up front, you got a cart, you got a Splatoon, and you got Mario. So it's like, what are we getting this year, guys? I guess we know that we're getting a Mario Kart. At least they showed it to us. What else?
A Mario game hasn't launched with all the systems that launched. Some of them came later.
No, I know. But it came in the year. Odyssey came in the launch year of the Switch. And that's the game, Greg, that was around. It was, I believe, an October release. So that was the holiday game that year.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's just so much uncertainty right now that I'm not excited. I'm just kind of like, now I'm eager to know more.
Yeah.
As someone who, like I said, I'm breaking this down from an investment standpoint, I'm annoyed because I did not get enough information to make a decision.
And you and JB are right. Like you've seen, like every edition of a console has been like jaw-dropping, borderline weird. Like the change has been so drastic. It's like, whoa, what is that? And this is the first one that's been pretty safe in terms of design, where it's just a bigger Switch.
But sometimes when you revolutionize an industry, you can just make the second version.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you like the Model 3 or the Model Y. You don't need to make a Model Q. Like, just make more Model Ys. People like the Model Y. Just make a new one. Same thing with iPhone, iPod before it, right? Like, what I wanted to see out of Nintendo was let's view this more like an iPod, not an iPhone or an iPad. Like, I want to see different form factors for this ecosystem. If they really want to outsell the Switch, make it as small as possible so it can fit in a pocket. Like a Switch 2 pocket, I think would sell truck tons.
That's interesting. I think, in a Steam Deck world, I know this is maybe just me, but like, I'm so happy with my Steam Deck. And I know we talked about this before, but like Nintendo Switch 2 launching potentially with a couple of cool indies and some first party Nintendo games. I would be, more excited if this was something I could throw like in my man purse. You know, like that part of my life is gone. I really miss the 3DS. And you're right. That's like, it went the other direction.
Yeah, they went too big, but maybe this is one of those things where, to your point, John, if we are going to get like a more regular cadence of updates, Like, yeah, this was what they determined was the one they could sell the most of, the fastest, at the best profit. But a year or two from now, when they have the factory going, if you want to increase demand, that's what's missing in portable gaming right now, is that Game Boy Advance SP, or that DS, or that 3DS, or even the Game Boy Advance, or even just the Game Boy. Switch never replaced the handheld in my eyes. It was portable, but it never replaced that pocketable gaming experience. And I don't think, good luck putting a Steam Deck in your pocket. You know what I mean? Like,
not gonna happen.
Or the MSI Claw or the Lenovo. Like, all these things are very large, and the Switch is also large. But I think that, like, they have to have the data, man. Like, I think a lot of people, the pocketable game device in their life now is their phone. And I think Nintendo said, screw it, we're not going to compete with phones. But, like, I feel like they're leaving money on the table when it comes to that. So, like, I would like to see a smaller, like a much smaller Switch than whatever else. Okay, but yeah.
It's funny. It's like I got one of those little like portable systems over the holiday, and
whatever.
Yeah, I really miss that form factor of the Game Boy SP and the Advance, and I think that would sell like hotcakes. That would have felt weirdly innovative in this world of Steam Decks and things like that, which, you know, those are very cool, but they're so powerful and like really, really great.
And that's the thing. Like, you want that big thing to have muscle. Like, if it's going to be big, I want the muscle.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want battery life. You want muscle. Although those little guys had no real muscle because the games were completely different.
But like Game Boy Advance
amazing
SP,
battery life.
outstanding battery life. Maybe the best battery life.
Days. Yeah.
Any like I remember I had that red one, and it was at my house for like a summer. I don't know. We went somewhere and I came back. I hadn't played it in like 3 months. It had like 80% charge left. Like, they don't make products like that anymore, man. They really don't. But like, it's not even weird Nintendo. It's that attention to detail that they had in their industrial design and how they viewed markets that I'm just like, do they really think that like that whole market has just gone away? Because I don't think that's the case. I think people would love a Nintendo device that could fit in their pocket that plays really good games.
That also plugs into a TV. That's the cool part. Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say, Greg?
Instead of doing that, like I could see like them making an app where you log into your Nintendo account, you launch the app, and you can play every game you've bought on the Nintendo eShop via your phone, via cloud or something. Mm-hmm. That way they don't have to make hardware for the phone. And you can play your game wherever you want. You just need a controller.
That's not what a successful Nintendo does.
That's a very different Nintendo.
That's the not secure or maybe even back up against the wall Nintendo.
But you're talking about adding another device to your phone that puts in your pocket. So now you have a Switch 2, a Switch SP Lite, and a phone. Yeah,
but if you give me I'm telling you, like, if you gave me a pocketable Switch, I would buy it and I would use it. Like, I don't like playing games on my phone. I need the tactile feel of buttons and the controllers and the D-pads. You know, like, I need all that. I can't. So if there's not some sort of a attachment for the iPhone Nintendo app that you're talking about, it would be dead on arrival. But yeah, just real quick, what do you think's gonna, like? Have you seen these rumors about like Red Dead 2 launching on this thing or Metaphor?
I did. Well,
do you believe it?
Yeah, I saw that too.
I don't believe. Well, I don't know about Metaphor, but I don't believe Red Dead in a way, just because that's getting in GTA 6's way. You know, even slightly. I mean, they won't even do like a patch for PS5, I think. Did they? For Red Dead? I think that's still a PS4 release. I might be mistaken. But I think like,
there's not like a PS5 enhanced version or anything.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong there. But I think it doesn't make sense, just given that I think Rockstar is in GTA 6 mode, like, really ramping up. And then the other thing is, I think it just lends to comparisons on a technical side that belies this toy company Nintendo. It doesn't really serve them to like compare a Red Dead 2, which is I think a 5-6-year-old. Is it a 5-year-old game at this point?
2018.
No, it's 6. Yeah, it'll turn 6 this year.
Yeah, it's like, it just feels weird. That said, I love that game. Top 5 game for me of all time, which
handheld
is crazy.
That and handheld.
And handheld? No, dude. Fucking,
I'd play the hell out of that. Right? I would play that. But, I just want. You're right, John. It never got a patch for PS5. The version on the PlayStation Store is for PS4, the enhanced PS4 Pro version. And if you've been reading these leaks about Nintendo Switch 2's hardware, it's very similar to PS4 Pro.
PS4 Pro, not PS5.
No, PS4 Pro.
Obviously. Okay,
yeah. Well, PS4
makes
Pro.
Sense.
It's like similar in power to the PS4
hey, man,
Pro.
I love that game. I would love to play it portably. I bought it over the holiday because they had that awesome sale PlayStation did, and play on the portal. I mean, I think that's like a cool thing.
Yeah.
If it's a better version on Switch or like fully natively portable, that's awesome. But wouldn't Steam Deck? I mean, isn't Red Dead like on PC and stuff?
Yeah, I think it is, right?
It just doesn't feel like innovative.
No, I don't think it's a good. Honestly, like what should come over to Switch? How about we get GTA 5 on Switch while we're at it?
They wait a year.
Why don't we get GTA Online on Switch?
It's not a bad. I wouldn't be surprised, right?
I'm just saying, like, while we're at it, Take-Two, by the way, hey, you haven't released anything except for a really god-awful GTA trilogy for Switch. Holy crap, was that bad. Like,
I think Metaphor makes sense for Switch. Like, that checks the boxes.
That definitely does, because Persona 5 Royal is on Switch, and it runs quite well. So, I think they know what they're doing. Companies that know how to work with Nintendo, they're going to work with Nintendo. The ones that I'm watching for, I want to hear about COD from Microsoft, because remember that 10-year promise? I want to hear from EA Sports. FIFA's not enough. We need Madden on this thing. We need college football on this thing. We need, whatever F1, whatever you're making Codemasters make, or if you ever make another Burnout, we need that on Switch. So it's like, hell, Dragon Quest, the Veilguard, put that on Switch. It's like Switch 2. So like, that's what I'm waiting to see. Like, is this third-party support actually going to show up or not?
Yeah,
but
I think so. It just takes time.
I know it takes time, but like Activision Blizzard dragged their feet. Take-Two Interactive dragged their feet. EA definitely dragged their feet. Meanwhile, Ubisoft was doing backflips on Twitter today. Like, we love it. I'm like, good luck, Ubisoft. Anyway, anything else anyone want to say before we move on from the Switch 2 reveal?
I want to see the games.
I want to see the games. I'm curious.
It's tough to make a really informed. This is just like obviously first takes. But the games, it'll change everything. And show me like one innovation in that controller. I see the mouse thing potentially. Yeah. Show me like a Mario Paint, or like an update
Mario
to
Maker
that.
3 or
Mario Maker 3 something, and like all is like we are so in. Also, I am day one Nintendo. Like forever,
I'm also like, here's the thing, and this is like, I'm telling you guys, I'm the most conflicted I've ever been about an investment in my life. I am like, I have my own pros and cons list that I'm putting together for selling Nintendo versus staying long Nintendo. I have to look back at the last 8 years. They executed extremely well in a very difficult time period. And I'm talking about 2020. What they did with Animal Crossing is outstanding. And like, that creates loyalty, right?
Sure.
41 million people bought an Animal Crossing game on that platform, John. Like, that never happened. But then, like, just for me, the things they've done for me, the video game fan, F-099, am I really going to be like, oh yeah, fuck this company? No way, man. They're taking these little risks, little calculated risks, and getting wins out of them. It's just, they're not swinging for the fences, right? It's like they're playing Moneyball. They're hitting for on-base percentage, which is fine. I think that's fine after like a wildly successful, innovative era for your company. I think it's okay to do this. It's that question I mentioned earlier. Are they being too cautious? It does not seem like we're dealing with arrogant Nintendo. And I think that's a good thing. Because sometimes when they get arrogant, they make some really dumb decisions. So we'll see. But yeah, like you said, John, software is going to determine a lot of this.
Yep.
So none of us are playing Switch 2, but let's talk about what we are playing. Greg, what have you been playing?
Marvel Rivals. Just play a little bit of Marvel Rivals.
Who are you maining?
Rocket, but I'm really bad at it. I'm really bad at that game.
Did you join us on Friday?
Yeah, I want to do if you're doing it every week. It's like one of the few times I get to play the games. So I'll do that. I'll be doing it, yeah.
Yeah. if you guys are around, I think Friday afternoons we're gonna start playing Marvel Rivals on stream, like 2 in the afternoon or something. But yeah,
Oh, sweet.
I joined Greg and Donovan for that. I think my main's Punisher. Punisher kind of plays like Soldier 76, but he has like a zip line, so he has some verticality. Verticality is insane in that game. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it too, Greg. Cool. John, you're also playing Marvel Rivals? You tried it out?
I'm playing. I mean, I wanted to see what all the hubbub was about. So really interesting. I mean, all the characters are so unique, and just the amount of work that was put into this thing, just to balance it. It feels pretty awesome. When I first started, I'm like, I don't know what the heck is going on. And I think you obviously get into a flow with, a character. I think I'm a bit more with, I guess, Punisher, right? Is that? I'm trying to think. Is that the one that I'm using a lot? So they're a little bit more traditional.
He has the assault rifle and the shoddy.
Yeah, and I was like, let me just try that. And then I tried
he has
somebody
the turret power up too. Like I don't know. He feels like I'm playing Gears, honestly.
And that's why I was like, let me get into this game with something like pretty traditional. And then I tried Storm, and Storm is like just awesome. Yeah, it's like a lot of fun.
I like the flying players, man. Like the ones that can levitate and fly. Like I really think there is an advantage to being one of those players, or at least having like 2 of them on your team at a given time.
Yeah.
Captain America. Cool. I cannot stand Captain America. I just always run up against him, and he kicks my ass.
I tried that. Let me see. No, I tried a bunch. It's fun. Wolverine. It's like really beefy. So many characters.
It's fun. I think that's the most important thing. Is it's actually a fun game to play. I think the gameplay loop is solid. It's definitely better with friends than it is to play by yourself. But
hyper competitive.
Yeah, which was like that reminds me of Overwatch in 2016, Greg. Like that was a very competitive game.
It was, but like Overwatch, that game compared to this one, like there were characters that weren't twitchy. Everybody in this game is twitchy in some way.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Which is weird, especially with melee characters. Like that's not something I'm used to. But I think to John, your point, it is very well balanced. I think they're gonna, as they introduce more characters, they're gonna have to buff and nerf stuff. But like, because I think the Fantastic Four just dropped on Friday.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm enjoying the hell out of it, and that's another free to play live service game, man.
Crazy.
Which we were playing Fortnite Ballistic. Speaking of which,
I was. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to try it again.
That's the Counter-Strike, like I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's like Counter-Strike.
5v5, and it has like a storm mechanic.
You got it. Yeah, exactly. At the beginning of each match, it's good. I think it's early days. It feels like it. Interesting. I mean, I can't say. I mean, Marvel Rivals kind of is the game of the moment. I don't think Ballistic is really going to change anything right now, but it's kind of interesting to see that that genre shift.
Can they just make a Gears like Fortnite mode?
No, I don't. Man,
I think that's Warframe.
It's very tall.
I would say, right?
I just want cover. If you just gave me no build, but with a cover mechanic, I'd probably be really in. The other thing is,
you guys
when
are
I saw
talking
them
about Outriders.
You actually are right. And
oh my god, shit all over. Asif was like, no, but not Outriders, not that game.
Not that game.
I don't want that game. Any other game.
Fortnite. It's just weird. Fortnite is so many things now, man. Like someone's gonna like this mode and someone's not. And there's gonna be something else for you to do in Fortnite. So it's
cool.
Like
Roblox. Yeah, there's a bunch of
weird
games you can make, a bunch of communities.
I think it's a better curated Roblox. I think is how I would describe it. Like Roblox is kind of the Wild West, which leads to really cool games being made inside of it. But yeah, I think Fortnite's a little more tightened up, and they do stuff like Ballistic and OG, where like they're making new modes. They're just piling on modes to this thing at this point. I don't think it's like a Valorant killer or a CSGO 2 killer, though. It's just a cool other thing in Fortnite. And like you said, John, it's early days. They might put more behind it.
It felt like a response to Valorant. Yeah.
Which like
I don't know if it's even a response. It's just that's the thing. I think it's maybe given both a little credit for having some animosity towards each other or something. They don't really. It's not like that. I think it's just another thing that Fortnite's up to. And then playing God of War Ragnarok. So I've been digging that game. Man, oh man, sometimes you are in the action and you're like getting into it, and then it is like literally 10 minutes of you not doing a thing. Not even 10 minutes, but like it feels even like longer than that because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And I
can tell you're getting sick of that, man. Like you're like, let me play the goddamn game.
I was kind of sick of it from like the minute one, and I'm not that type. I don't like I said, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a great example of narrative, and we brought that up last week, so I don't want to like repeat myself, but it's not really getting any better in terms of here's the action set piece, and like how is this different than a Call of Duty game? Like action set piece followed by story set piece, followed by action set piece, followed by story set. And, yes, the father and the son, and that's very, very nice and heartfelt. The acting is great, genuinely fantastic. Genuinely fantastic. And I'm not even talking about Kratos, although Kratos is great, but man, there are some winners here, like Thor and Odin, I brought up, and Thrud. Thrud is like Thor's kid, right? So I think that's where it's like really great stuff. So it sounds super cynical to say, well, yeah, they're talking too much. Maybe that's a testament to how fun the action can be. And I just feel like they could have maybe balanced that a little bit better. That's all. But look, it's a game of the. I'm sure it was game of the year. Like got 9s and 10s and all that.
Yeah, that's well liked.
It reminds me of Spider-Man 2. It's like a really good game. Mm-hmm. It's like a really good game, and I like that I'm playing it.
Those two games have in common, JB, is that they both are open to cool interpretations of like decade-old mythos and characters. What's this version of Parker? What's this version going to be like? What's this version of Thor going to be like? I think that adds to it. The creativity behind the different interpretations of what you're seeing.
Yeah, the character design is really neat. Like seeing Thor, and I think like it's so unfortunate. It's not unfortunate, but everybody thinks of. I mean, most people think of Marvel, right? You have to think Marvel if you're. I get it, but most people nowadays, I think. You think Marvel, and I think seeing these interpretations of Odin and Thor and whatever, it's just kind of neat. Kratos, I like seeing him playing the old games again. I played God of War 1 for a little bit yesterday on PS2, and man, he is different. So that character
that's what I was saying last week. I was saying,
that character
very different Kratos back in the 2000s.
It's a very different Kratos. He was a youngin, and he was an asshole.
He was wild. He was wild as fuck.
Nuts.
He was out of control. He was out of pocket. He deserves everything he's gotten.
And super shallow, and you could tell, and the gameplay's fun, but
mean bastard.
Mean dude, jerky guy. I like seeing grizzled, old, regretful, fatherly Kratos.
I want this to be done to Duke Nukem so badly. What they did with Kratos, do it with Duke, and it'll work. I swear to God. Just make it a daughter. Make it maybe twin daughters that he's dealing with. But like him being a girl dad in 2025 would be a really interesting take on Duke Nukem. And I think like what they did with him having to actually kind of care about a kid for once. Right. It's really I'm glad you did that though, because we were talking about that last episode, and it's just wild how different the characters.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to see. So anyway, I was thinking about this yesterday because I was trying to finish up some Berserkers, which are pretty overpowered characters, optional characters or like mini bosses that you're trying to get to. And I was just having trouble. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just mainline, like just go right to because I'm pretty comprehensive with stuff. I'm just going to mainline and then go back and try to 100% it. So I'm looking forward to finishing the game. And by the next episode, I should be done. Definitely.
Yeah, and you can go back like they.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I figured, there's so much.
It's the 100%ing of that game gets really annoying with whatever those birds are and other stuff.
The ravens, and I figured these berserkers can be very tough, and I think the arena is going to be a little bit difficult.
Yep.
That's
you
crazy.
can plow through the story and then just get all that stuff afterwards.
Yeah, I think the Astrobot Platinum got me a little maybe overestimating my abilities here. So God of War should be interesting to 100 if I can.
Nice. Okay, Joe, I got to hear why you think Astrobot's a 6 out of 10.
All right.
Wow. What?
Astrobot. I have all
Wow.
three. I have 318 Astrobots in the bank out of
It's all of
318.
them.
I've seen them all. The Christmas level and everything.
Uh-huh.
The only fun levels are the 5 time trial levels. That's it.
What?
That's it.
Wow. You don't like the tree?
No, I didn't think the game was fun.
Music.
I think the game is beautiful. That's what I think.
But as a platformer, you did not enjoy it.
Hell no. I am thirsting for 3D Mario at this point.
You know what? I don't disagree with your take, but 6 is really low, man.
No, I think 6. If you, what is the word? What is Shaq News's word for 6?
You technically failed the test.
No.
In high school, you got
sorry,
an F.
I can get. Let me get the our review scale for you.
Doesn't 6 mean good or something?
I'm pulling it up right now. Oh wait, here it is. Review scale. It means above average. Good is 7.
Okay.
Above average is 6.
All right. Maybe I would say 6.5. I don't know. I don't.
We don't do 0.5s at Shaq News, but
Well, I understand.
You can do whatever you want. This is your review. You can leave it at 6 for all I care.
And Joe is a very tough.
He's the Russian
reviewer.
judge at the Olympics.
Yeah, he's a toughie.
He's like he's given like I don't know the skaters' names these days.
He's like 7.
Yeah, he's giving them 1 out of 5.
My thing is with Astrobot and all games is that like I do think on a personal level, I just look at some of the games that I see reviewed highly and I say like, did this really change your life? You know, and that's rhetorical.
Wait,
I'm not saying,
but a 7 out of 10 doesn't change your life.
Totally. I agree.
Dude, did you not
Wait,
get
I'm sorry.
censored by
Are you saying
it?
No, my point is I'm saying Astrobot is not going to stick with me. I was not having a blast playing it. The takeaway after seeing, all of it is that it's gorgeous.
Mhm.
And so to me, it's like the sum of those sentiments is 6. You know, I don't think I'm being
that's
harsh
a
so
lot
much
of-
as, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Can I ask you? Did you play the first one, the previous one on PS5?
I did. I did not go to the end though.
Did you play Did you play?
Did you
with
hear
kids?
the GPU song at least?
I was going there. Did you hear the GPU song? And did you play it
Yes.
with a kiddo?
I played this one with my son who is obsessed, and I had a great fatherly time with him, and it was so sweet to see him get excited, and also it was so heartbreaking to see him cry when I was doing the X levels in particular.
Oh yeah, because you're like just demolishing Astrobots, like 500 Astrobots.
He was so upset
sink.
at how I had him in my lap while we were playing, and he would like shake watching me jump, and he's like, "Is Dad gonna make it?" Like he was anxious about like landing, you know.
And then the tree level, like with that music, like the kid wasn't bopping, like he wasn't going nuts. You know what I mean? And
Danny
it's like the GPU song.
loves Astrobot.
It's one of the best menu. It's one of the best menu themes ever.
But just
I think the music's awful, guys. I'm sorry. I think it's
You
awful.
you don't like Astrobots. How do you not like the menu music? You don't like the menu music? You don't think that's good?
I think it's grating.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Wow.
Real quick. What I was getting at was there's a dad mode +1 or +2 potential points there. I think,
Right.
and
Right.
you're telling me that might not be there because Mario Odyssey is a 10 out of 10 for me, game of the year. And if I wasn't playing with my kid, that's a 9 out of 10. Just still hits, but hits a little different.
No, I'm divorcing those sentiments from my review.
Wow, you're cold and calculated, my friend.
I am. I respect this art form so much that
you don't pull
and
that
myself.
JP bullshit.
and
But
myself.
but hold on. But our reaction to art, our reaction to games, it's the sum of our backgrounds and our lives, and our experiences, and they're very unique. And I think that I'm surprised to hear. I'm not saying I'm not rejecting or.
I cherished the
I was
time I
just
spent with
curious.
Danny. I cherished the time I spent with Danny. Astrobot
Of course.
filled a void that can be filled with other games and better games.
Damn.
Wow, that's so funny. All right.
I'm playing. More importantly, I'm playing Yakuza Kiwami on the
There
Steam
you go.
Deck.
That's a
fun.
good game.
The brawling sucks, but it always did. You know, and
Yeah, but you hit the button. It's fun.
it doesn't matter. I
Where do you
put
play
it on
that on?
easy on Steam Deck.
Of course he is.
Cool.
That's cool. And then
Yeah.
you, so yeah.
What
asked
about
me
you,
what I-
Asif?
I'm glad you asked. I'm going to get through this really quickly. I've been playing F-Zero 99. I know, shocking.
Okay.
The Frozen World Tour event's still going on. I have raised all the winter sparks that I needed to complete the event, so I've gotten all the unlocks. I still have not beaten Captain Falcon or Pico in the star variety to unlock their extra special gold badge, but I don't really care. Those aren't my mains. I placed second overall in a race on Mirror Big Blue. So that was my highest placement. I'm doing that thing where I'm in first place, but I'm not managing my boost right, so I die. So it's like I had a couple like 90th place results this last week, but no, still loving that game. It's awesome. And like I said, it's like magical games like that are why I like Nintendo. That's not the most graphically intensive game, but it's the best online game Nintendo's ever made. And I think heading into this generation, boy, do they need to have better online than they did last gen. If any of these third-party games are going to have anything there. Yeah, I mentioned with Greg, I played Marvel Rivals with Donovan and Greg on Friday. It was my first time playing the game. I like it quite a bit. I was also a fan of Team Fortress 2, and I liked Overwatch in 2016 before all the heroes started coming in, and then when they changed the meta and when role queues showed up. I think all that sucked. So yeah, I think that's like, it's a nice shooter that I can play. I tend to not play military shooters because a lot of them are about killing brown people, and I don't really feel like doing that in my free time. So when I have a shooter that's like Splatoon or Rivals, I'm more likely to play it, or even like Halo, right? Like Halo, you're just shooting Covenant or whatever. So I like those space shooters or whatever, like more fantasy, whatever, sci-fi. But even like a game like Stalker, I think is more interesting to me than like a COD any given year. So yeah, played that. I'm playing Balatro on my phone, guys. I'm trying to get through the red deck, but with like the higher stake.
Should we get a new audio cue, Asif, for Balatro?
What's that?
Like we have the crowd going.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, like F-Zero 99 and Balatro and Animal Crossing. I'm playing those every week. I'm playing less Animal Crossing. I think I've kind of done everything I needed to do. I am having an argument with Isabel about trees. Oh, I did build a new ramp because I unlocked 2 more ramps. So I don't know if you guys remember my island at all, but I had this like elevated place that was just a bunch of flowers and then a pond where you could fish, but there was only 1 ramp up there. Now I have 2.
Nice.
It cost 98,000 bells, but what are you gonna do? So still playing that. And then yeah, I gotta talk about Disco Elysium, man. I'm still on day 1, right?
Wow.
Because I'm doing other stuff. I have a lot of obligations and things to do during the week. But I met some characters. What's her name? I met Cindy the Skull.
Sure.
She's hilarious. And I met that lady on the boat, the negotiator.
Yes, from the company.
Yes. But then at the end of that conversation, Rhetoric and Savoir Faire show up. Did they show up for you, Joe?
Oh man, the game was 50 hours long. I don't remember that conversation in particular.
But you know what I'm talking about. Those like the they're not narrators. Are there voices in your head? Like I don't know what they are, but like
the game repeatedly will get whatever those words are, those aspects of your mind will chirp during conversations. So it's not in particular that conversation. That's a staple throughout.
Yes. But I guess the point is why I brought it up is like you're talking to this wealthy woman who's negotiating with a union, right? You're a police investigator talking to this woman. Afterwards, you get off the boat and there are these 2 calls to action. You click on the blue one and it's Rhetoric. And it's like a diatribe about how you're going to be the person who brings back communism.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And at the end of it, I'm like, I don't really want to do that. So I thought it was over. And then Savoir Faire shows up and is like, no, here's what you're going to do. And this is why you're going to do it. Because you're not it's like, he like goads you into being pro-communist by the end of it.
Angel and devil on your shoulder or something?
Yes. I just thought it was really interesting because that conversation with the lady, it did have classist undertones in it. And like your partner told you to kind of goad her into answers. So like you are being like you're like confronting her. You're kind of being a dick in that exchange. So it's just, I thought it was really neat when you get off that, when you right when you're done with it, there's these 2 calls to action and it's like the game just gets super meta all of a sudden. I love it. I love the undertones of it. I think there's a really interesting story about classism. There's Cindy, just her idea of like painting, like tagging an entire city so it can be seen from like a satellite. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still I ran into these old guys, Joe, and I threw one of their balls in the water. I feel bad about it. But
wow. Nice.
Did you not throw the ball?
No, I did not.
I did. And now I feel bad because I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to get it back. That's funny though that we can both play through this game and like you didn't do that. So that obviously there's so many branching logic things here. Like I don't know where things are going, but yeah, I'm fitting it in. It's kind of my end of the night thing. Like I kind of treat it like I'm reading a story at the end of the night.
I mean, you are,
and it's great. Sam said, I expect weekly Disco Elysium updates. Gonna need to know how Asif is progressing and more of Joe's thoughts. But yeah, like this undertone of communism and corruption and yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. That's the game. That is the game.
Mm-hmm.
They really take that to the nth degree.
Yeah, so that's the last game I had time to play. I've been editing a lot of videos, and Greg has been editing a lot of videos.
We've been in the video mines together.
Yeah, it's been video mines basically since Greg got back. But yeah, I didn't play it, and I don't know if maybe we'll mention that in the next segment. But yeah, those are the games I've been playing. Those are the games everyone's been playing. We're not doing a game today because we were talking about Switch 2. So we're going to hit the story time here, and then we're going to wrap up the show. So we'll be right back with story time. So stay tuned. Welcome to Storytime. Let's dive into the latest stories from the past week. Storytime Previews, which is trademarked, but it doesn't say. Oh, no, here it is. A preview palooza from your friends at Shack News. Thank you, Joe. I was really confused. We switched back over to this other outline website from last week, so I don't think this one has dark mode, does it?
I'm currently in dark mode.
How do I make that dark mode? Anyway, we'll figure that out.
We'll do that after the show.
Next time. Anyway, let's talk about Civ 7, guys. This game is cool. Bill and I did something with his preview that I think we're going to do more of going forward here at Shack News. Sometimes companies don't want you just to post gameplay. They want commentary on top of it. So Bill fired up Civ 7 on his PC and he streamed it over Discord. And I kind of just sat there and chatted with him for an hour while he played through it. And he actually let me make all of the decisions. So we put... what I think's really cool about this is it's not just world leaders. Like, yeah, Napoleon might be in the game or whatever, but like Harriet Tubman is in this game. And, she's an American civil, abolitionist and like all these things, like very key American history person, but not a president, right? Not a king, not a president, not a monarch.
Right.
So I think that's cool. What's especially cool is you can take Harriet Tubman and you can run whatever civilization you want with her. Whereas in the past, like Gandhi was stuck in India and like you had, Julius Caesar would be in Rome or whatever. You can take whoever you want and put them in whatever age you want and in whatever location you want in Civ 7. So like it kind of turns into this crazy Mad Lib scenario where we were running, we're probably about 45 minutes into the hour video and we are a despot, a tyrant, a dictator running Egypt. We had a couple of battles that we had to fight. It seems like the way that they're using water in this game is pretty interesting, like just controlling the waterways and being mindful of like if an opponent or like one of your rival people has control over part of your water, your boat can't cross it unless you do some sort of treaty. So it's interesting the amount of foreign policy that can be done in it. But yeah, about 45 minutes into it, we got to this condition for a celebration, and it was called We Love the Tyrant Day. So I was like, that's pretty wild. I did not have that on my 2025 prediction list that
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman was going to get a day in Egypt, in ancient Egypt, John, where they celebrated her rule as a tyrant. They loved her. They loved her.
Well, I mean,
quality of life was very high. Everyone had gold. Everyone was getting happy. There's so many systems. Guys, there's so many systems in this game. It's crazy. And like, I feel like I didn't even get to see everything in that 1 hour. But yeah, if you're a fan of the Civ series, this is a different take. And it's not a bad different take. You know, that one year where they went to space, it was kind of weird. Like, this is still like grounded in that historical stuff, but like the biome seems to have more variety, and you have so much optionality in your skill tree, what you decide to do, your foreign policy, who you decide to be allies with. It's very fun. So recommend people go and watch that video on our YouTube channel. It's just Asif reacts to Bill playing Civ 7. And check out Bill's preview on the site. Bill really likes it. And the review will go live, I want to say February 3rd. So they gave us a lot of time to play the game.
That's good. That makes sense.
We weren't able to talk about multiplayer yet. I'm really eager to know more about the multiplayer aspect of the game, because Civ gets really fun when you play it with friends. And then, TJ got to check out Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii out in SoCal last week. He was in Orange County getting to try this game out. It's fun, man.
That's nice.
Like,
that's cool.
It's a fun game, and it's actually a seafaring game. Like, the pirate ship gameplay is fun and unique and like real. So
you have a sense of the like, as a Yakuza fan, everything hinges on the melodrama, and so just like I just have my guard up a little bit with this one, because it's like, can I be endeared to Goro dressed as a pirate?
Right.
I mean, you still have the side activities that you want, like Dragon Kart, karaoke.
Yeah, but those are cool. But like, Goro's such a charlatan, or such an interesting character. But I'm like, Yakuza definitely, or Like a Dragon, is that don't judge a book by its cover, where I judged, Ichiban just looking at the box art. I'm giving this one a shot, because I'd be surprised if I don't. So you're kind of skeptical, right? You're like, no, this guy's just going to be a wild guy.
I'm just asking a question. I really don't know what to expect. I was wondering if Asif had a sense.
Just from a story standpoint, I think they're kind of copping out, and they're like, he has amnesia for part of the story. You know what I mean? So like, you might not get what you're looking for on that front. Maybe later in the game, like once he realizes who he was, that might, because I think that's part of the story in this that we don't really know much about yet. But for me, I like the variety of gameplay that I'm seeing. Yeah. And I think he's just funny. He's a funny character.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, sure.
So like, I don't care if it's not as serious as Infinite Wealth or something. Like Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, that's just a funny premise. So it's like,
it is. Yeah,
let's go. Let's just be goofy. But like, it also looks like it's a better pirate ship game than Skull and Bones. And that was in development for like 10 years. And this is like probably took them 2 years to make, and it's better.
We played it at E3. That's how old it is. To give you guys
E3 2016, Greg. I think you played Skull and Bones at E3 2016. For the folks at home, that was 9 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
And in that 9 years, this Like a Dragon franchise has risen to become like really one of Sega's best IP. Just wild. Like, that wasn't the case 15 years ago or 10 years ago.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I think they're leaning in on the success of this franchise, and I think Goro is the right character to do something wacky like this with.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, check out TJ's preview. He had nice things to say about it. I think we all need to pay close attention to it. You guys, Donkey Kong Country returned for the third time.
Hell yeah.
In Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. John, have you played the original on the
Donkey
Wii?
Kong Country?
Returns.
Oh, I did. Yeah, that was cool.
It was on the Wii, and then it was on the 3DS, and now it's on the Switch.
The sunset, like, anything with a sunset, I'm like,
it had like it was the introduction of that really cool interactive background stuff that they really, I think, perfected in Tropical Freeze.
Yes, right. I'm looking forward to checking this out.
Ozzy reviewed it for us. It got a 7 out of 10. It's the same game. This is really all Ozzy had to say. Like, it wasn't bad, but like, there are elements of that game that feel old in 2025, and they could have done something more with it. I think that's where Ozzy dinged them. But if you just want that Donkey Kong Country Returns experience, but on a Switch, this is your game. If you didn't play it on the 3DS, or if you didn't play it on the Wii, I do recommend that you play it. I think it's a fun game. But like, I don't want to buy this for a third time.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Especially like a few months before Switch 2 comes out. Like, I'm good, Nintendo. I really felt like you were trolling us all week with this. But, it's cool. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Not the highest thing, not the highest review score that you can get at Nintendo, or that you can get at Shack News. Will Borger reviewed Dynasty Warriors Origins. It also got a 7. It's fine. I don't know. Like, it's visually impressive. Like, I think this might be the most enemies we've seen on screen in a Dynasty Warriors game. So that leads to cool combos, and if you like Musu games, like, all that's going to be there. Pros were an increased focus on storytelling and character development. That's not really a pro to me. That was a pro to Will. The combat is a pro. It's fluid, fun. It's more tactical than you think. Some of the maps actually require strategy. They're not just that like open field where you just hit the button a bunch. There's actually RPG elements of this game that work decently. Will says that the story does undercut itself at every turn. So I don't understand how it could be. It's a pro and a con, I guess. And even just in the gameplay that I saw that we uploaded, I could already see that happening. But also, like, I don't know. Does anyone play these Dynasty Warrior games for the story? I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
Side missions can be repetitive. That's every Dynasty Warriors game. Certain missions have confusing maps that require you to know where things are ahead of time. And I think probably the worst thing is there's no co-op mode. But yeah, got a 7 out of 10.
Well,
yeah.
Interesting.
That is weird, because these games they're fun when you can play co-op.
They are, yeah. That's cool.
I like the Hyrule Warriors games. Like the one, the Age of Calamity one, that's a game that ran like complete dog shit on Switch. So maybe it runs better on Switch too.
Yeah.
But yeah,
kind of mindless fun is all.
Yeah, Dynasty Warriors Origins, it's out now. It was one of those games where the embargo was the minute that the game released. So, they didn't have a whole lot of confidence in it if they're doing that. But yeah, got a 7 out of 10. Not the worst score. And to remind you, Joe, that means good at Shack News.
Yeah.
Tales of Grace's F Remastered got reviewed by Lucas White here. Got an 8. Fun story, good performance on PC. Complex combat when compared to the other Tales games. Which he mentions as a con. Combat feels at odds with itself. Visually, this is a big negative. It looks like a spruced up Wii game, which it is. It's a remake of a Wii game or whatever, or a Wii era game. And then, yeah, he said the story's fun, but it feels a little tropey at times. It just looks old when you're looking at this, and you're like, yeah, that's a definite remaster of a Wii game. It's just, we're at that point in the cycle right now for Switch where like you're just seeing the most random PS Vita era games showing up on Switch right now. And then Lucas also reviewed Blade Chimera, which is a side scroller.
Yeah.
Got a 9 out of 10. Incredible 2D pixel visuals and animation. Yeah, the combat and the gameplay are pretty fluid, man. I think you should check this out, John.
Really?
I don't know. I'm curious what you think of it.
Blade
Chimera. It's got a retro looking vibe to it. Like a Ninja Gaiden or like I'm trying to remember that.
Katana Zero.
Yeah. It has that kind of art style and gameplay to it. Yeah, he said the story has its moments. It's also kind of short, but honestly, that's not. And as I've gotten older, I don't mind 5-hour games. Like I'm actually like, yay! I like 5-hour games.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's like TV. It's like this could have been a movie. Why do I have to watch 9 episodes of this?
Especially the games that just focus on the gameplay. Like I like that stuff. So yeah, that was those were the reviews. I recommend you guys read the reviews on the website. And then yeah, we have Newsa, a Newspalooza coined by Shaq Newsa. Guess what? We're getting another EA college football game, you guys.
Yes.
Moving on. That's all I got to say about that. SoundCloud on Alarmo is getting a March 2025 release date. in retail. So like GameStop and Best Buy and Target, they're going to have
that's cool.
Sound Clock Alarmo on the shelves starting in March. I guess they're just trying to goose their revenue into the end of the fiscal year. Because Lord knows Switch 2 is not coming out before then. Sony filed a really weird patent this week about using AI tech to anticipate player input and reduce lag. So it's like using AI in like a way that's going to reduce latency of input. I think that's good, but it could, if it's implemented wrong, it could really suck.
Yeah.
But interesting patent. We wanted to draw attention to it. Awesome Games Done Quick 2025 ended with over $2.5 million raised for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. That's awesome.
Nice. It's great.
That is awesome. I'm working on a feature that I think will go live this weekend, where we Ozzy and I highlighted our favorite runs from the event. So keep an eye out for that. Also, you can just go to their YouTube channel, the Games Done Quick YouTube channel. They have all the VODs up there. Joe, did you see the Crazy Taxi run?
No, I didn't.
It was insane. They had a live band there on stage with the runner, and they played the soundtrack. So every time he screwed up and had to restart, or every time he went to the menu, they switched songs in real time.
Wow.
But also, if you remember Crazy Taxi, John, there weren't a lot of songs on that soundtrack.
Not really. No.
It was like 5 or something.
Yeah, they bang those songs into your head.
So there's like this run was like 30 minutes, but we heard like, I don't know, probably 15 times.
I could seriously, yes, go ahead.
The guy's voice starts to go out. So he's like, by the end of it,
funny.
It's so painful to watch. Oh my God.
No, poor guy.
Like if you're a fan of cringe, I recommend watching it. Joe, as a musician, I'd really like you to watch it and hear your opinion on it.
All right, I got to see this.
But
weird.
My brother's in town, so like we were watching it over the weekend. He's like, I just got to pull up the real song for a second. And he does, and he's like, oh man, this is bad.
Oh crap.
So look, I applaud them for doing something different. Right? That's cool. That had never been done before. And the crowd went wild. Everyone was really enjoying it, you know? So it was like a fun, nerdy thing that happened. And I thought that was cool. I wanted to call it out. We mentioned before that there was a guy who did the Mario run with a Wiimote strapped to his head. Keep an eye out. We'll have our best runs article this weekend. But yeah, if you haven't, just go to Games Done Quick, check out their stuff. And then, we got the DICE Award nominations. Astrobot, Helldivers, I think Balatro maybe got some noms. But yeah, Black Myth Wukong for art direction. We don't know the winners yet, but I think the DICE Awards are next month, right?
February, yeah.
Yeah, February in Las Vegas. So I know Ozzy will be there for that. But yeah, Black Myth Wukong, I think got a little bit more love here than you saw on other lists and outlets. I am seeing 1000X Resist got nominated for Adventure Game of the Year, Joe. So there's
cool
that. You got Balatro showing up in a lot of categories, just a lot of categories. We'll see what happens. DICE next month, and then we mentioned it at the beginning in our cold open, but we'll mention it again here. TikTok prepares to shut down U.S. servers ahead of potential ban. I am not surprised that a communist country-based social media platform is not going to sell to a United States owner. They're just going to pull the app.
Yeah.
I'm just not surprised. It sucks for people who are levered to that platform, though. If you're not
a lot of people make a living with that thing.
Yeah. If you were a content creator that blew up on TikTok and you make money off of the shop and off of ad revenue, this really sucks for you, and you have to restart everything. It's why we are pretty diversified with where we post that kind of vertical video content at Shack News. We post that on Twitter, we post it on YouTube, we post it on YouTube Shorts, obviously, Instagram Reels, and Facebook Reels for that reason. I don't think this is the end of vertical video, guys. I just think it's the end of TikTok, which sucks. For
we will know by the next episode.
It's happened before. We saw it with
Facebook
Vine.
So with Facebook too. We'll see how it goes. These things come and go.
Yeah, Facebook changes their algorithm all the time, so it can affect creators too. And I think the whole advent of Reels on Instagram really messed with that algorithm. And then, we do have some community notes before we go. We got some questions from the Shack News community, which you can join by heading over to shacknews.com/chatty. You can become a Shack celebrity today, or by emailing us at, greg.burke@shacknews.com. House Mamu Corner, he said, Pyramid Dice broke Asif and John. Last week, when we were talking about four-sided dice, John and I really had a moment.
No, me too. I shook. I was like, what the... I fell down.
Yeah, both of us, our brains did slightly break. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it. Thanks for listening to today's show. If you made it this far into the show, you probably like us. So go subscribe and like and follow and share it. Get on top of your desk and yell about how great we are. Whatever you do about your favorite podcasts. That'll do it. Greg, thanks for joining us. John, thanks for being here. Joe, great job producing.
Thanks.
And
thanks for hosting.
Thanks.
We got, no problem. This is great. I'm glad we all got a chance to share our reactions for the Switch 2. I have a feeling this is going to be a topic that we're going to keep talking about here.
Special days like this do not happen. A new Nintendo platform announced. So, it's nice to talk to you guys about it on the same day. That's kind of a rare opportunity.
Yeah, it's nice to react to it together. And it's I think we're all left with a lot of questions, which means that I think it's going to be, we're going to have a lot of time to talk about this before we get to really play it.
It means we're interested. That's good. What I mean? It means the interest is obviously high from everyone out there. So looking forward to it.
I hope we hear something about software on the Switch at this Xbox thing next week. Like, that would be neat. If they're like, by the way, this is like Indiana Jones is coming out on Switch 2 on this day, like something like that. Maybe it's not this event, maybe it's the event in the summer or whatever, but I want to hear about third-party software before I determine what's really happening here. And like something you mentioned earlier, like support for Roblox, but also Fortnite, like UE5 games, how are they going to run on Switch 2? That's what I want to know, because like so many of those stunning games from last year and the ones that we're excited for this year run on UE5. And like one of the big stumbling blocks for the Wii U was that it did not run Unreal Engine 4 or 3 well at all. And that prevented a lot of games from coming over. So it's like, I just want to know, like, what Nintendo are we dealing with? And maybe this is a new Nintendo that we're dealing with. One that's like not arrogant, that's kind of cautious, but is also like, maybe they're hiding something from us. So we'll see. We don't know.
We'll see.
It's exciting times. But like, we're not one at Shack News to try to report things before we know. So we didn't report on the rumors because it was one source. And I'm not going to run a story on one source. And especially when all we had to do was wait 3 days to hear it from Nintendo. So it's like, it's a lot easier to be like, hey, Nintendo shared this trailer. Here's when you can try it out. Obviously they're doing a lottery for it or whatever, but hopefully we'll get our hands on it. Hopefully we'll get to review it, hopefully all those things. But, exciting times whenever there's a new hardware device in gaming. And I think we all just are left wanting more. So I'll do it. That's where we wave at the camera that's not on and say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye everyone. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks,
See you.
Doug Bowser.
Whoa.
Shack Together is a Shack News production.
Shack Together is a Shack News production.
Shack Together is a Shack News production.
Shack News is a multimedia company consisting of a variety of entertainment properties, including ShackNews.com, video game and cutting-edge technology coverage with evergreen video, guide, and long-read content, providing readers and viewers with the latest reviews, previews, interviews, and news. Shack News content is readable and viewable at ShackNews.com, Facebook, YouTube at Shack News Interviews, and Shack News VODs, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Shack News Media, Twitch, and more. But that's not all. You can play Bubbletron, our first video game. Combine 3 ideas, hit the market, and get your money hat. Bubbletron is a daily game in the style of Wordle where players can launch a company and see its valuation instantly. Hit that high score and brag to your friends. Visit Bubbletron.com to play. There is no download required, no signups required. But if you are into app downloads, we have the cutest one on the planet. It's called Shack Pets, the ultimate battle for cuteness. Swipe your pets to victory on iOS and Android in this Tinder-like app for pets. Shack News is proud to present a variety of micro products, all available for free at shacknews.com. Cortex is a publishing platform available to all of our users. Shouts is a Twitter replacement in a time where Twitter really needs replacing. And Reader, an RSS reader that won't get shut down by Google anytime soon. You can import YouTube, subreddits, all sorts of cool stuff, even podcast feeds. And lastly, all of our products are completely free to use and play, so if you're a fan of what we're doing and want to support the Shack News ecosystem, head over to shacknews.com/Mercury. Mercury offers subscribers access to exclusive Shack News swag like hoodies and VIP access to our long reads in downloadable format. It's a great way to support us. There's different tiers, and you get a lightning bolt next to your name.